Taurus, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for October 24th through the 30th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky, known as Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. All right, so Taurus, this week we have quite a bit going on, and the high point will be at the end of the week when we have a new moon. So new moons are about the subtler energy. Won't be a high point of an energy, like energy as in, what we're feeling, motivation, that kind of thing. In fact, this week is a sort of dying down sort of week. But astrologically speaking, there are certainly some new beginnings taking place this weekend. And a lot of it is going to be involving what already has been unfolding the past month, which is about your self-expression. This has been your fifth house, very activated at the moment, which is about your creative side, your self-expressive side. And so continuing with that. So we'll talk more about that, but let's go ahead and look at the week in terms of how things are unfolding leading up to that new moon. So the first thing this week is that your ruler Venus is going to be squaring up to Neptune and sextiling up to Jupiter here around Tuesday and Wednesday. So this is, first of all, Venus, who's been in your seventh house. Perhaps you're enjoying a bit of those relationships at the moment, or maybe there's just been more of an emphasis on relationships lately. And I say that with a grain of salt because Saturn has been in your seventh, which is about a bit of patience and discipline and the long-term approach to relationships, right? So this has been the case this past year of taking that long-term grounded approach there. So Venus is actually going to be conjoining up to Saturn a bit later in the week around the weekend. And so what you're going to find is as the week unfolds, it's still great to take this stuff seriously, something new, continuing with relationships and a bit of that patience there. So setting new intentions can be fantastic as we approach the end of the week, but as Venus does get closer to Saturn, just in general, a bit of patience in your life. Maybe taking the long-term road versus the short-term road and seeing how things can be built so that there is stability. And I think a lot of it does involve those one-to-one connections. Now, at the beginning of the week, though, Venus will be squaring up to that Neptune, sextiling Jupiter. So this could be maybe a bit idealistic or something with those relationships, maybe just in general. So do keep both feet firmly on the ground here Tuesday, Wednesday time. In terms of anything that might be uncertain, idealistic, you do want to watch any extremes with Neptune. So putting things on pedestals or not being totally aware of things is a good time to maybe take a step back from maybe making any decisions that you would otherwise be able to make if you had a clear picture. So just all in all, being aware of that, but in that way, I think being present is always an excellent way of working with Neptune. Tuesday and Wednesday, listening to your intuition, and maybe taking some spiritual time out, some spiritual activities such as meditation and prayer can be good with this square to Neptune. And then, of course, the sextile up to Jupiter, suggesting that, yes, you could be feeling perhaps a bit buoyant or optimistic the early part of the week. It's possible with the sextile. So if you are great, see those opportunities there. It's a time for you to continue to, again, move things forward with relationships, move things forward with that self-expression, which has been, again, that fifth house energy. Then around Friday and Saturday, as we approach the weekend, Mars is forming a few aspects. Mars will be squaring up to Uranus and sextiling up to Chiron. So this has been a Mars in your eighth house. Perhaps lately you've been feeling like getting deeper in general, which is what the eighth house is all about. Could be really cultivating and doing things because they're meaningful to you in life. And it could even have to do with relationships in the sense of having openness there and openness with life in and of itself. And in that way, there's been a very transformational energy. In fact, I think you've transformed perhaps a lot of fears or doubts or deeper things last week when you had Mars conjoining Pluto, but that's all been transformed. And so this week, I think it's just great to continue with cultivating and putting energy into openness, intimacy, the deep side to life, and just all in all to what really matters most to you. So with this, though, the second half, you could feel a bit like breaking free. Maybe there's a bit of tension involving some things this week, maybe involving those ideals, which is what you might be wanting to break free through or from. And so do be aware of that because, again, just like the square to Neptune, it's all about awareness. And just be aware of if you do have any tendency towards any impulsiveness this week or wanting to break free, make some sudden changes, do some sudden things. Keep it nice and centered, nice and balanced, and do listen to that freedom and honor that freedom just in a nice and slow and steady way. All right, so if you are feeling like making some changes, being your true self, right? Bringing more freedom into your life. It can be constructive with that balance there. All right, and so that leads us to the weekend when we have the new moon. So this is going to be, again, involving your 5th house, new beginnings with your self-expression. For some of you, it's creative. For others, it's projects. For some of you, it's children, if you have children in your life. Anything that is essentially our creation or the things that are close to our heart, which are usually one and the same thing, in fact. It could even be hobbies and interests also. Those are the things you enjoy in life. But I think fundamentally, you Taurans, expressing yourself, right? There's a new beginning with that. I think there's a lot of positive energy to do that. And again, this is where the last lunar cycle was anyways. So in many ways, it's just continuing with what I think was already shaping up in this department. Now, some of this might have to do with your work. In fact, I do want to mention, because the new moon will be fairly close to your 6th house. And Venus, who rules your 6th, going over Saturn, does suggest some new beginnings also. So maybe the second half, some new beginnings with your work, maybe with your routine, your regimens, your health, your diet, things like that can certainly continue to move forward. And all in all, this conjunction with Mercury could even be some new beginnings with you financially or material this week, materially, since Mercury does rule your 2nd house. Or maybe you're just getting a greater sense of self-worth and self-reliance this week. So this is all towards the weekend. I think you'll see a lot of these newer things unfolding next week. But over the weekend, I think just sitting with it, asking yourself where you can cultivate some more of that self-expression, those things you enjoy in life, your creations, and also your work and routine, and maybe even the financial life as well. All right, so Taurans, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.